Indiana have to vacate their national championship? Don't know. We're finna talk about it on the Gridiron Insight. Welcome to the Gridiron Insight. I'm your host, Marcus Dent, and I got my sidekick, Jason Watkins from the Hall of Fame Media. Jason, man,
Yes,
I
sir.
tell you what, the NCAA right now has been in court more than a traffic cop.
Right.
And and I don't think it's finna slow down.
No,
You know,
it isn't.
it's not finna slow
Especially
down,
if they're
man.
going to go after Indiana. If they're going after Indiana over playing a player that they allowed him to play all year.
And here's the deal. These schools know what the cards that they're dealing with. You got Oklahoma is doing the same thing. You got, of course, we got the case here in Mississippi with Trinidad Chambliss, and it's a growing trend. You know, but me and you have talked about it before on your show that if they do win these cases, and it's a big if, but it's possible, they could go back and take your natty, your playoffs, everything that you don't work for will be down the drain. Is it worth the risk? Is what I'm saying.
Well, here's what I will tell you. We all watched them win. Just like we all watched USC win back in the day, and they stripped them of all that stuff. And Reggie Bush's Heisman, we watched him win the sucker. I got to tell you, I don't. The decisions of the NCAA don't really change anything for me. But that being said, I do think that it's obviously a stain on it. There's going to be the people that hate on it and talk smack, just like they do the Michigan deal over the
Yeah.
sign stealing or whatever.
You know, and here's the thing also. You have Ole Miss have to look at this very carefully because they're in that boat. They have to look at this very carefully. I think they got enough information to make the right decision. I think Oklahoma waited on purpose to do what they did. They waited on
Yeah.
purpose to do what they did, just for the simple fact that you know you have so many days you have to rule on it. I think it was brilliant how they did it. To be honest with you.
I don't know. I think that Owen Heineke's situation is definitely a lot different than what it is for Trinidad Chambliss. I think Trinidad Chambliss,
Oh yeah,
in my mind,
cases.
two different deal because of it goes back to what we were talking about Joey Aguilar was that they're trying to change a rule for him about the JUCO stuff not counting. They're basically trying to do the same thing with Owen Heineke, trying to change the rule about playing one sport not counting against you on another sport. They're trying to give that a red shirt year out of he only played 15 minutes of time as a lacrosse player at Ohio State. So do I think that Oklahoma could win it and Owen Heineke may be back? I do, but I don't know. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to any of it is the problem, right?
No, it's not. And that's
At the end of the day, the problem is that nothing that the NCAA says really matters right now because there's no collective bargaining.
Man, until you get something in writing on paper, both sides can agree upon. We're going to have this year after year after year. There are going to be, court cases after court cases after court cases. And to be honest with you, people don't really care about you taking something from them because they already have the trophy. Regardless.
We watched them win it again. We watched them win it.
Yeah,
and to me, the NCAA,
the NCAA, be the best player in the country.
Yeah, listen. I mean, look, I don't subscribe to all that stuff. We watched the best teams. We watched them run through that playoff and go undefeated and beat Ohio State along the way. They beat Alabama along the way. They beat the brakes off of Oregon, and then they beat Miami too.
Right.
And so, I mean, look, at the end of the day, I watched them go and win that thing. And if we're talking about one player that, look, I don't know the exact details of this. I'm still looking for it here. I know that that's something that they're talking about it on Locked On Big 12 or Big 10. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, I would tell you that it's crazy that you would even think about doing it, because here's the deal. At some point, all you got to do to fix this, and you know what? Shout out to Danny White from Tennessee, the AD from Tennessee. I haven't been big on praising Tennessee for anything lately.
Nah.
I'll tell you that what he said was that, yeah, it's going to be hard, and they want this. Look, the SEC, the NCAA, they want to have the protection from going to court all the time. Well, he said, yeah, it's going to be hard to do that unless you do CBA. We got to be able to be willing to do what's right because you need protection for the athletes.
You need protection for the athlete.
NCAA.
Right. And here's the thing. It's going to cost somebody a lot of money before it's all over with. It's going to cost somebody a lot of money. So this is also something that
billable hours, baby, billable hours.
Yeah,
These attorneys are getting rich.
But the unfortunate thing is that doesn't happen for a D2 kid. We haven't seen it in the smaller levels. We just see it at the P4 level where they can afford lawyers and go get lawyers to get this type of stuff done. That's why I think it's unfair. Everybody in college football can't do this, or basketball or whatever situation is.
I don't think that the D2 kids aren't as sought after as
No. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And if it wasn't for the fact that they're good enough to be and they need them at these big programs, they wouldn't be doing it for Trinidad. They wouldn't be doing it for Trinidad or Owen either.
No. You have to be a guy. But here's the thing: if the NCAA does win one of these cases, you can bet your ass there's going to be some penalties, because they got to have something. They hadn't won a fight. They hadn't won a battle. They've won some fights, but they haven't won a battle.
Well, they've already said that if the Mississippi Supreme Court doesn't grant the injunction or doesn't kill that injunction that they got in the lower court there in the state to give him that other year, that they believe that they believe they can get it overturned. And if they win the case, they said that they would pursue penalties of every kind against Ole Miss.
Because they have to. They have to have some type of stability. Without it, Jason, they have no stability. And that's just where we are.
The problem is you pick your battles in such weird ways when you're the NCAA. It's okay for a kid to play 9 or 10 years, or to be in the NCAA for 9 or 10 years at one place, but it's not okay for Trinidad to get a 6th year when he was. I mean, they proved in the courtroom that he had paperwork showing that he was sick.
Yeah. And here's the thing: the kids that get the 8th and the 9th year, man, just look at them. They're not top players. I mean, they're at P4 school.
That linebacker at Miami, he's in year number 8.
Okay, him. But there's some more that are in.
You got the Montana State kid that's going to UNLV, I believe, and he's in year 9.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's not a premier program. It's like they giving the premier program guys who are trying to get that extra year. They're getting the most hell.
The problem is, though, for what reason, though? I mean, what they said about Trinidad, it didn't make any sense to me. So because
it didn't make sense at all.
They didn't make a good argument, number one, and then their argument they're making now to the Supreme Court is that you don't have the right to overturn this as a judge. We don't have the right in the state courts to do that. That's what, and we know that there's some precedents there in Mississippi for that.
Yeah,
if definitely viewed in the same as the Coaches Association we talked about.
You're putting in the work, but are college coaches actually seeing you? Recruit Runner turns your talent into a digital recruiting profile coaches can find instantly. Add your highlights, link your social media, upload stats, transcripts, photos, and camps. Now, coaches searching your position and state can discover you in seconds. And the cost? Less than a fast food meal. $7.99 a month, $59.99 for a full year.
What's up, man? Did you hear from them? Yeah, Western State just messaged me.
Recruiting is not about luck anymore. It is about visibility. Recruit Runner, run your recruitment.
Correct.
So, but that, I mean, to me, that doesn't change the fact that he's proven his case that he had bad tonsillitis, a chronic tonsillitis that kept him sick for years.
He should have.
That was a rubber stamp. That's the point.
Yeah, he should have.
If you can't get that right,
got it from the NCAA. He should have got it. They shouldn't even been in court with that.
Right. If you can't get that right, then what makes me believe that you're going to get it right about Indiana or anybody else?
They're not.
I mean, you know what?
They're not going to get it right.
Miami played that guy that left Wisconsin. He had a contract. Wisconsin said he couldn't leave the NIL.
He left.
He didn't get in the portal. He just left and played at Miami. No, and they do nothing about it.
So let me ask you this: so you got a kid that's that's Southern Miss. He's a Southern Miss right now. He don't want to stay there. He leaves and goes to UNLV. So are they going to come after that kid? They probably will, because that's just not a big program.
Step up for him. Well, let me ask you this though. Mississippi State, we know that they just lost an offensive lineman. He didn't get it last year, and they thought that he was going to get it. He's not appealing it anymore. I just saw that on there. It was a couple of weeks ago. Offensive line guy that they were expecting big things from.
Oh yeah, that was expecting him to come in and contribute right away.
Now they're going to do the pro day for him, and he's moving on. Why not him? But it does work for other people. That's the biggest problem. I guess my question would be on the Indiana deal. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen here?
I think I don't know about the judgment, but if the NCAA wins, they're going to take that championship. You can bet your ass on that, because they need muscle. They need muscle. They don't have any muscle right now. Their muscles are toilet tissue paper. They don't have any muscle, so they're gonna take it to the max. They're gonna be petty Betty if they win. That's gonna happen, and everybody out there is running the risk of playing these athletes, with this cloud hanging over their head, including Ole Miss. But Ole Miss, like, hey, it's worth the risk. He's gonna fill the stands up. We're gonna win. But how does this affect you if they start taking scholarships from you? Now you're in a different world. That's a totally different world than taking wins. You start hurting them.
Yeah, if you take away their ability to go play in the thing, then you lose the money and everything that comes with it. And
Yeah. So everybody's running a risk, and we talked about that. It's a risk.
Well, here's the other thing too. What they already did to Trinidad, one thing is they screwed him out of the. They've been talking about the last couple of weeks. He was going to be on the cover of the college football game. It cost him. He's saying $1 million.
So let me ask you this: if he wins this case, does he go back and sue the NCAA for that money he lost?
Would you?
I would.
So would I.
So, how many other things did he miss out on because of this court case?
Mm-hmm. They're hurting his ability to earn, and everything that they've lost at the NCAA has been those cases that it's messing with the player's ability to earn.
So let me ask you this, Jason. It could be from the NCAA cover to, it could be number of things that he could be missing out on. That number could go way up. He could never even have to play professional sports. The money that he will be owed by the NCAA by the time it's over with. That's one side of it. But then on the other side, if they win, they go and they strip your team, the team that you love, the team that got you, your status quo, the team that's going to put you in the NFL, strip of wins, scholarships, TV time. That means a lot. If you strip them of the TV time, and you strip them of scholarships,
mm-hmm.
and you strip them of being able to go, well, bowl games don't really mean a whole lot right now. But if you strip them of being able to not go to the playoff, you're hurting that program big time.
Yeah, well, let me ask this though: how do you justify doing any of this when there's no rules in college football right now? To speak
you can't justify. It's a kangaroo court type deal with the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
They
there's no transparency for what they're doing and why
at all.
No.
And yeah, everybody said, well, we just want to go back to where it was and before all this mess. No, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't have it both ways. And here's the thing, none of these kids asked for this. I did not see these kids in court not one time when it came down to all of this stuff with the NIL. They were
Well, when
left
the
out.
NIL came, it was over the Ed O'Bannon case, which he was a player
Right.
a long time ago, obviously. But and the House settlement and all that stuff has been a big part of all this as well. But what it amounted to was a Supreme Court justice that decided that the judges decided 9-0 on that in that case that the NCAA was wrong to
Clean
not
sweep.
allow. Absolutely. So it was. There's no reason why it shouldn't have happened. So my question is, and here we get, they're out there. I mean, there's questions about whether they're trying to win or lose these cases because they want Congress to step in and
Oh,
do
definitely want
something.
Congress to step in.
Well, at the end of the day, do we really want Congress to? I mean, isn't there some more important things going on in the world right now for Congress to take care of right now instead of this stuff?
See, I don't think, I'm going to be honest with you. This administration might want to do it, but it's too much stuff going on. It'll never get done in this
His
administration.
executive orders, I mean, his last executive order, he did this before and nobody listened to it.
Nobody's going,
No.
it's nothing.
Executive orders aren't really worth the paper they're written on as long as
Nope.
if it violates the rules and laws that are already out there. And even this last thing with the Army Navy game, it has to stay within the parameters of the Federal Trade Commission laws.
Man, we don't even want to talk about that crap. But like I said, right now, man, there's a lot of lawsuits out there in college football, and like I said, Indiana it's just one more that's
Next,
added. Yeah, and you got the don't forget about the Nebraska case. You got those 18
18
guys.
players that are going against the CSC.
Yeah, you got 711 cases throughout the NCAA
that they didn't agree
down.
on.
They had turned down over $30 million. $30 million that the NCAA say, no, you can't get that.
And
711 cases.
And the thing is I saw that on I saw the guys Ross Dellinger and those guys were talking about it, and they talked to the leader of the boss of the CSC,
right.
And he said that they don't have the ability to take on all these cases. They don't even have the manpower to be able to look at all these in a timely manner.
So
and on top of that, they don't have any real teeth to like make it stick either.
So in other words, you need to hire more people, and they're making enough money to hire more people.
It's not even about that though. More of it is about the fact that they don't have anything backing them up. So here's the thing: what's going to end up happening is those 18 guys and probably all 700 plus, those things are going to get reversed if they go to court.
Yeah, every last one of them is going to court. When you go to court, if that was your case.
Sure, because here's the thing: none of these rules have been hard and fast. That's the whole point. They said you couldn't have a collective. Now they're saying you can, but to me, on the 18-player deals, that if they cut and if they fold on it, it's probably not good. But I think that they have to settle it, and because you're going to get that media company is going to make it. They're going to attach it to something. It's just
attach it to something. They're
clerical, right? Yeah, but at the end of the day, they better hope so because what's going to happen is you're opening a can of worms with a lot of these deals. When you lose, you set a precedent. When you win, you set a precedent too. One thing they don't want is for the more they lose these cases, the worse it gets for them.
Oh, no doubt. And it seemed like every other day, it wouldn't surprise me if we wake up in the morning and there's another case out there somewhere.
Well, Owen Heineke's gets hurt on the 16th of April. So, they'll know about that and allow him to be able to go to the draft. That's a good thing. I don't know what's going to end up happening there. And at the end of the day, I would tell you that do I feel like that there's a limit to how long these guys should be able to come back? Sure.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's a limit to how many rules that you should be able to make to govern the sport and not give any say whatsoever or any input on it whatsoever to these players. They're changing rules all the time. I would tell you that I think that the targeting rules and the way that they changed that the other day was stupid. There's a lot of things that are going on, Marcus, that none of the athletes don't have any say in it.
None. And that's just like that's because you don't have a collective. And, that's just where we are right now in college
or any
football,
real
man.
arbitration, right? I mean, it's
no
just
real arbitration on anything. And that's just what we are. But, we'll see. We got a lot more cases coming up, and we're going to keep an eye on the cases that is out there. We'll keep an eye on the Indiana case and the Nebraska case. Definitely right here in Mississippi, the Trinidad Chambliss case. So, like I say,
who
the
they going to give
NCAA.
it to? Who they going to give it to if Indiana gets stripped? Because Miami had an ineligible player according to what the rules should have been, right? If they told him he couldn't leave, how did he get to play?
Right.
So who they going to go back and give it to the Ole Miss or what?
I don't know, man.
Oregon when they got
crazy.
boat race.
Yeah, man, that's kind of crazy, man. But hey, that's where we are right now, man. But hey, guys, look, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and we'll catch y'all on the next 365 Gridiron Insight.